Hey, Rick,
Hey, Megan.
it's Tuesday and we're back. And like I told you, I don't like to sound like the Grim Reaper for buyers every week, but you said, Megan, we have to prepare people. So sometimes it's good news, sometimes it's bad news. As my grandfather used to say, is that some days you eat the bears and other days the bears eat you. So this has been a very bears eat you kind of year for buyers. And we've been kind of going through it and telling people what we're seeing, what's happening, and what we think will be happening here in the future. So you want to start off with how this week's went and that sort of thing?
Well, as you know, I follow some very expensive commentary that follows the mortgage market and the rates and makes lots of predictions. We knew that mortgage rates would go up in 2022. That was never a surprise. And the prediction was that we would see rates gradually, in a typical market, rates will gradually creep up over some period of time. And that's easy to manage, right? I mean, you have to expect it's going up. It goes up a little bit at a time. So the prediction was we'd be 4%, 4 up to 4.5 sometime throughout the year. Well, it didn't really quite happen that way. This inflation thing took off faster than they were anticipating. And so the Fed's response to that is to raise rates. We knew that was going to happen as well. But where the surprise is that the actual rates, and I kid you not, have jumped up sometimes 0.5% in a week.
Yeah.
And
huge.
so we, beginning of the year, roughly around 3% on rates. We knew that. We blew past that 4.5% mark by end of February, first part of March. And so now, this last week alone, we had rates go up again another 0.5%. Up again this week a little bit.
Wow.
And so, rates realistically are in the fives. That's where they're at. Okay, so 5%, 5.5%, depending upon the program, the loan amounts, so on and so forth. Figure mid fives.
So if you got pre-approved at the beginning of January, the end of last year, you'd better call your loan officer and get a refresh, because your payment is significantly more. And in some cases, it's about 25% more.
That's true. Overall, it's about, and depending upon the circumstance. Yeah. So, but here's the weird thing though, and we're both seeing this, the effect of this should be fewer offers and fewer offers over asking price. And so far we're not seeing that. I mean, you and I both,
I'm seeing like 3 to 5 offers per house.
Okay.
And maybe 3 to 5% over asking versus 10 or more offers and 8 to 10% or more over asking.
Right.
So I am seeing it tighten up a little bit. And but still, it's not quite enough. And some of the agents are, and I really, sometimes it's hard to articulate what's happening, but what's happening is you get 10 agents putting in offers, right? And it is a bear out there to get offers accepted. 2 of those agents of the 10 are going to give their buyer advice that would not, in a normal circumstance, be advisable. Things like waiving your inspection contingency. Unless the house is a total tear down, you should have an inspection if you plan on having someone live in the house. Waiving their inspection contingency and offering $100,000 over the asking price when it's not anywhere close to being worth $100,000 over the asking price. We had this situation this week where this house had fallen out of escrow twice, and my clients saw it and decided they wanted to write an offer, and it was listed for $900, and we offered $920 because that was higher than the rest of the comps. The rest of the comps were like $870. So I was happy that it already kind of started off a little bit high, because that meant there'll be less ridiculousness.
Right.
And the agent who had only sold, what did you say, 1 house this year?
Yep, 1 house.
1 house this year.
1 house in 12 months.
In 12 months had told me that he had offers close to $1 million. There's no way in hell that this house is worth $1 million, not even on its best day in another 5 years. Okay. It needed a bunch of work, but it's a nice neighborhood, nice house. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying there were remodeled houses selling, totally remodeled, for 50,000 less. So I think part of this is like, who is giving out advice to buyers? And it's not that I don't want sellers to make a whole bunch of money, but I want the market to be healthy and to be consistent and a little bit more predictable than it's been. It's kind of like a wild and crazy ride right now, but you know, it's like,
I do think that some of those situations though, Megan, some of those buyers are working with lenders who have not been on top of their game with respect to what to expect with these offers. And so I think we're starting to see perhaps some more fallout.
that's probably why the house fell out of escrow twice. It's like, I have been calling all the buyers for the listings that I've been getting offers on this year since February, and saying, have you spoken with your borrower about their interest rate? Because it is such a shocker in a month, 2 months period of time. It's like, I am not going to put a ring on it with somebody who doesn't know how expensive it is, you know?
Yeah, I think we're seeing some of that. And once they get into escrow, they realize, and here's the thing, people say, well, what's the rate? Well, that's a relative term, because the rate 2 weeks ago, it was about 0.5% lower than it is right now.
Right.
So unless that buyer is up to date on what's going on, that 0.5% difference in rate could be a difference of a couple $100 difference in payment in some cases.
Yeah.
And so they get into escrow and they realize, I don't want to pay that much money, then that creates the problem, right? So
exactly. So let's find these things out before you get into escrow. You can find a house and have Rick run the numbers and give you an estimate based on whatever the latest rate was.
Correct.
All right. So I think that's pretty good for today. Do you have anything else to add?
No, I think we have to just know this is the market going forward. It's not going to change next month. There's no magic pill here.
Right.
There's nothing that's going to trigger us to wake up one day and go, guess what? We got 500 more homes in the market, or 2,000 more homes in the market, and rates just dropped 1%.
Right.
It's not going to happen. So we have to know this is the market now.
Right.
We have to make that adjustment.
I agree. There's no point in crying here. Just readjust your expectations based on the affordability of the home, and make sure that you're being realistic about where you can purchase at, because the longer you remain in a state of denial, every day you're losing out on opportunities that, and if you're wondering, am I in denial? Call your realtor and ask them, am I in denial? Have I been looking in the wrong place? Have I been looking for the wrong thing? What should I expect in my price range going forward? And just get on the same page and get your money in the market. Like, I just saw a house sell that sold 2 years ago for $750, just sold for $920 in 2 years. Like, imagine if that was you and you bought that house and you made a pretty little penny on the resale, what you could do with it. So just get your money in the market, find a good house, make sure it's affordable.
Yep.
And plan on staying there for a little while at least.
Good advice, for sure.
All right. Thanks, Rick. Good talk. And everybody stay strong out there. And we'll see you next week.
See ya. Take care.